Hi everyone, good evening. You're watching ET Now's India Revival Mission. I am Mubina Kapasi. We are going to be talking about, of course, what exactly is on the cards when the government speaks of Unlock 1.0 that's officially kick-started from today. We saw the markets as well react to that. So it's been an interesting few hours right here on the Lal Street as well. We are going to be wrapping up all of that all day today on ET Now too. But talking about, of course, what will India need to do to sort of revive, and how exactly will the hospitality sector, revive amidst this lockdown, amidst the slowdown in economic activity, and of course in this post-COVID world. Here's an exclusive conversation with Rohit Kapoor, the CEO of Oyo India. Take a look.
June 8th is what the MHA has come out with in MHA guidelines. But as you know, each state is releasing their own guidelines. So many states have said that June 8th will be the opening, but some states have said it can be opened with some qualifications for certain kind of users. So all that is coming through now. I think we'll have a full picture and clarity over the next 2-3 days. But June 8th is still about 7 days away from here. So I think in 4 days' time, we'll know exactly what's happening. But it looks like a large part of India will open up for hotels.
Rohit, you know what? Don't look at the camera. Just look a little more to your left. Look a little more to your left. Yeah, this is it. This is where you look. This is where you look. Okay. Yeah, this is it. Okay.
Can you, okay, because if I have to look at you, then that's what's causing the problem, I think, yeah.
Yeah, so don't look at me. It's fine.
Okay. It's very weird, but I'll try.
Okay.
Do we start again?
No, we'll just patch it. Okay, so while we await for that, Rohit, I want to ask you that would hoteliers, companies like yours, actually want to restart business? Because here's why I'm asking you. When you're shut, you can keep your fixed costs lower, your overheads lower. Once you reopen, your overheads are going to go up. And I really don't know, is India, the public at large, actually okay with the concept of visiting hotels, checking into hotels, whether leisure travel will pick up, business travel will pick up?
So I think, Nanta, that's a very important question. And we have been, last 2.5 months engaged with all our partners on a continuous basis. So we have a real-time check on what's happening in their mindset, in their hotels, what are they thinking. And there are 3-4 things. Let me talk about supply first, which is partners, and then come to the customers. On the supply side, the challenges are genuinely there in terms of working capital, in terms of sometimes labor, but also in terms of demand. Having said that, given that a lot of our hotels are economy hotels, right? And this is their primary profession, a lot of them are gearing up to open up. So I do feel a large part of the network will open up starting June 8th, not maybe exactly on June 8th, but in the weeks following June 8th. And it will open up with new guidelines, new SOPs. So we've also been working with the partners on what we call the minimal touch SOP program, right? And the sanitized taste tag. So I am a little more optimistic, saying a lot of hotels will open up and welcome guests as they're allowed to. On the customer side, I think one thing I want to clarify is hotels are not just about tourism or leisure, right? They support economic activity, business travel. In recent times, because of also the way we have been operating as a country, a lot of businesses, factories, IT BPO setups are looking at hotels for accommodating their staff. So different use cases have emerged. I think initially we'll lead with those use cases, followed by SME segment really traveling because they need to. And third, I think we see selectively leisure demand picking up. Lastly, staycations have been a trend. So people, please don't forget, have been at home for like 2-3 months. And although I think that's still the right thing to do, but people will even go in their own cities and check into a hotel just to get a different experience. So it'll be tough. I don't think it's going to be easy, but this is a resilient sector. I think they've seen these storms before. I think people will open up.
People will reopen. Now, yours is an asset-light model, right? You work with operators, you have partners. Now, it's not possible that they all can survive the lockdown, right? Can you give us a sense of how that is panned out? Are you also going to be supporting your partners who ran out of money, who are looking at the prospect of maybe having to shut down?
So look, I think you're absolutely right. While we are asset light player, our partners need the working capital and labor and everything else to restart. So it is an economic challenge for a lot of partners, and I don't think everybody will stay in business. Some part or some level of operators will go out, especially in some of the lessee markets rather than the owner-driven markets. We have been continuously in touch with partners, supporting them, whether it is lessening of the burden of payments due, or moving to a weekly payment and reconciliation system, retention linked discounts and value-added services, even take rate, which is what we take. In a lot of cases, we've reduced the take rate. There's a product called Oyo Secure, which partners come into the platform with, which is like a wallet model for partners. We have reduced the entry fee for that over the last 2 months. And lastly, we're in touch with NBFCs and other financial institutions to lower the problems, to see if they can even get loans, which are discounted or at softer terms. It is a tough time. It is a tough time for the industry. It is a tough time for the partners. But I think at this point in time, given a lot of them actually depend on this for their livelihoods, and it is their main profession for a lot of them, I see opening up and getting demand back in and revenue starting back up as probably the best step forward.
Okay.
Than continue to be closed for a long period of time.
So also, if you're going to give confidence to people to say that whether it's staycation, which you believe is going to be a big trend after the lockdown, revenge holidaying as they call it, or for whatever reasons, post-quarantine, during quarantine, isolation, I mean, that's also, I'm sure, a business model that you all are looking at. How are you going to restore confidence or make sure that your customers have confidence in checking into Oyo? What is the future of hospitality? How are you going to make this a safe space for them?
Yeah. So I think that's a great question, Anita, because this industry has gone through a transformation in terms of mindset. If you had asked me this question in February, a high touch experience was considered luxury.
Yeah.
Right? The more the people you have, more people serving in the room, at the reception, faster check-ins, everything. Suddenly, it will move from a high touch to a minimal touch or a low touch model, right? And we have over the last 2 months put in 2 things. One is a minimal touch standard operating procedure, which is a set of guidelines on how to operate the hotel, keeping all the new norms in mind. And of course, needless to say that the government also has come out with guidelines which all our hotels will follow. But even beyond that, how do you manage the reception? How do you manage the kitchen? How do you manage in-room dining, or do you do it or not do it? How do you do cleaning? All these processes, we have been at it for the last 2 months to communicate and train our partners.
Give me an idea. What will check-in be like? What will check-out be like? What will in-room dining be like?
So look, and I'm giving you ideas only because different formats will evolve. So one option of check-in will be at some point that you have a electronic system, electronic channel, which could be an app or anything. You upload your IDs, you get check-in gets confirmed, you get your room number, you walk in, right? After maybe displaying your ID card at the point of entry, because that's required. Or it could be as simple like sanitized keys being left at a place where you pick up and move from there without having the need to touch anything there. So it will be a range, and people are talking about robots and all kinds of things. But I personally believe for a large part of India.
What will be Oyo in India?
I think the Oyo is an experience where if you walk in, first of all, you'll feel reassured because the person standing across the counter is maintaining distance, is wearing masks, is wearing gloves. There is a sanitizer bottle available at all points. You'll find things clean. And I don't think there will be anything that you'll need to touch beyond taking your keys, which will be pre-sanitized, right? So there is a lot of change which is going to come, right, in all our experiences.
Yeah.
So taking that beyond, Anantara, what we've done is we're also qualifying our partners on a tag called sanitized stays, which is when they conform to a higher level of norms, they get a tag called sanitized stays, which will be visible on the app. It is already visible on the app. So consumers can also choose on that basis. Because consumers will choose hotels or chains which give them the minimum assured comfort. A lot going to change.
But all of this automation, if you're going to really take place, will also mean, and for obvious reasons, it'll be more expensive. You're going to have to make sure that the technology is indeed adopted and is at every partner's. And secondly, it'll lead to layoffs. So it's not going to be easy. It's very easy to say contactless and all of this, but there are going to be a lot of hard decisions, a lot of money that's going to have to be spent.
I think, look, I personally believe that with hotels opening up, we will be seeing at our partner assets, our partner hotels, a lot more employment being created back. So I am seeing this as a net gain from present status, where the hotels are shut down and a lot of people don't have jobs, right? So there will be a net positive effect of this on the sector. In terms of technology and costs, over time, I personally feel we have to really make sure that the technology investments are not being made for some fancy thinking that any chain has, or at least that's how we think. It has to make sure that two things happen. One, our customers feel very good about it, very safe about it, with whatever they experience. And second, our partners equally at the same point in time are able to afford that and keep operations running. So frugal technology, frugal options, training, simple things are also going to matter. This is not going to be about the really complex IT revolution or technology changes only. It's going to be a lot of simple things executed well.
Do you know also that going forward, is there a band-aid? Have you been talking about it? It'll be just good to know this. Everyone's discretionary spend has come down. Salaries have been cut, jobs have been lost. Everyone's going to have less money to spend, right? In a nutshell. So therefore, will it be cheaper come June 8th for me to check into Oyo? Will we see rationalization of hotel room rates is the question I'm asking.
Look, we have always stood for extreme level of value offering for our customers, right? So I think one thing I can tell you that across platforms, you'll still find as a customer at Oyo, the best possible options in terms of value, right? Now, whether it's be slightly cheaper or expensive, it's a function of a hotel room rate is a function of many things. It's the day of the week, it's the season, it's so many things. But I think at Oyo, we will continuously find that we are being able to offer our customers the best possible value available in the market.
So tell me
that doesn't go away.
Are you going to throw away bed sheets after every customer comes? Have you figured out what's the right way to sanitize them? What are the kind of changes that we're going to see inside the hotel room?
Yeah. So look, I think I'm not the expert to answer this question. But my only answer is that across the industry, you will not find bed sheets being thrown away, right? Because that's not practical. Having said that, how the bed sheets get cleaned, with what process it comes back, definitely will see much higher standards than it used to. And those are SOPs which are already being rolled out. Right? See, the idea is that if you enter a room and you're not sure, right, people are not going to come back, right, for some time till the pandemic completely subsides. So the focus that even the partners have on this is disproportionate today. I'll tell you, we did a webinar recently to talk about these issues, right? 2,000 partners showed up. 2,000 partners. We have never found the ability to get so many partners onto a platform where ideas, notes can be exchanged. So the level of sensitivity which our partners have is extremely high.
Correct.
And I think I can sense that across. So I do feel as June 8th comes, people check in, they will be able to check in with confidence.
Okay, so I think we'll get you back after June 8th, where you can tell us a lot more, including like, are you going to leave a room in between? Will we have to see social distancing between rooms? Is that a possibility? Is that needed at all?
No, that is not needed. I think hotels by design to be socially distanced. A wall between the two rooms is good enough.
Time now to invite my next guest, Sriram Khattar, the Managing Director for the rental business at DLF. Sriram Khattar, good to see you safe and healthy, working from home. I want to begin by asking you that June 8th, shopping malls are supposed to reopen. Is every state on board? We saw an absolute mess when it came to the aviation sector, where it took a while to get all states on board. Tell us, when it comes to shopping, what's the situation?
So it's a typical center versus state situation. I think the center gives the guidelines and then leaves it to the states to decide. So each state has to decide what they want to do and when they want to do it and how they want to do it. I have just heard about 15 minutes back that the Delhi Disaster Management Authority have said that the shopping malls may not open on the 8th. I still have to read the circular and try to understand that a little more. But honestly, we were quite excited that we will start business now. Let me see what the circular says, and then we'll sort of re-gear ourselves accordingly.
So Sriram, Khattar, right now you don't know which all states are going to reopen the shopping business. What about food courts in offices, for example? You know, you're a large provider for commercial real estate as well. All of them have dining and all of that. Is that different? I'm asking this on behalf of all the employees and employers out there.
Yes, so we realize that it is that if the employees come to work and they don't have food to eat, it's going to be a difficult thing for them. But I think the government is treating the food courts on the same platform as they are treating restaurants. So it'll take a while before there is clarity on this. From our side, for example, in Cyber City, we've got the convenience stores like modern stores, etc. open. We have opened all the kiosks which were serving soft drinks and chips, etc., so that people have their basic needs met. And we are trying to see if we can put 2-3 standalone shops there which just sells basic food items for the people who come and work in Cyber City.
Sriram, Khattar, allow me to be a little cheeky and make this comment. You're looking very calm and zen for a guy who should be worried that corporate India is getting used to working from home, that the public is getting used to shopping online. Isn't this going to disrupt your bread and butter?
I initially, when this lockdown started, did have a few sleepless nights. But then I think we did a lot of research, and I'll take 2 minutes, but give you my take on the work from home. I think work from home is now here to stay. But believe me, when I passed my chartered accountancy and I was a consultant in a leading consulting firm, we had a room of 4 desks which was occupied by 8 consultants. So this desk sharing and working from home or working from clients' offices has been there for decades. And I think it will have some level of impact, but this impact will be offset by 3-4 things. One, a lot of broadband will not be available at homes. 2, there are a lot of third-party IT providers, and our tenants are mainly IT providers who do not allow their data to go off-site. So they have to be at a central location to do so. Third, this big data and large broadbands to be able to do analytics, etc., may not be possible from home. Fourth, when you have de-densification because of the social distancing, the area that will be required will be a little more. So I think the jury is still out, but I believe it will have an impact, but the impact will be minor. It will not be very high. I may also add that some of my American friends tell me that whenever they've tried this experiment in their companies on work from home, the productivity over a period of time tends to drop. And therefore, they would rather have people working together. Please also remember...
Has been like TCS, for example, which is India's largest company, IT company, has said it's going to do work from home. 80% of its workforce is going to do that as part of its earnings results announcement.
Yeah, I think TCS has said so, but then there are 2 American CEOs, I think of Apple and one more, who have said that work from home is not something that is going to work for long. I also do not understand that a guy comes in, say, from Muzaffarnagar, when he's a young IT engineer, he comes here to create an identity for himself. He stays with 2-3 friends in a dorm. And then you tell him you sit in the dorm and work. It's not his identity. He's not able to sort of do what he came here for. So I think there will be some little bit of back pressure on this.
Now, okay, so your plans are on track. You're not worried. You're not.
There's a little slowdown. No, I think as the head of as the managing director of the business, I am a little concerned, but not overtly concerned. I think there will be a little slowdown. But I think that's part of the game. We've seen a slowdown in 2008-9. In retail, we saw a little slowdown when the demonetization took place. We saw a slowdown when the GST was introduced. So I think we are quite prepared, and I think we'll come out much stronger once these things are over.
Tell me,
In,
Shriram,
in this period, Nayantara, I may share with you that we worked a lot in terms of reducing our own costs. And whatever reduction in cost we have had, we've passed it on to all our tenants by way of lower maintenance costs. And all this is being appreciated now. So I think we will do well as we go ahead.
So Shriram Khattar, now I want to also talk to you a little bit about retail. We've talked about offices, work from home. You're obviously, when it comes to offices, you feel it's going to come back. It's about timing. But retail, what's the future of retail? In offices, you will still have HR departments, you will still have CEOs and the top management making sure there's social distancing. How are you going to manage crowds in shopping malls, provided that you do see crowds at all?
Crowds will come back. What you are asking is a question of what happens in the interim, in the next 4, 5, X number of months. I think there we have put in very strong protocols. Whatever the government protocols have been there, we've sort of exceeded those and put them. For example, we will not allow more than one person per 75 square feet of the mall. Our app, the Lookout app, we are upgrading it to see that you can do a time slot booking if you want to come to a mall. And whilst the crowds will be less, but social distancing and sanitization and fumigation, institutionalized and organized companies like us will do it in the most safe way. And I can assure you it will be much, much better than what's happening on the high streets today.
Then tell me something, Shriram Khattar. IT companies, corporates, they've still been working, right? But retailers have not been allowed to work because of the lockdown. I'm sure there have been many uncomfortable conversations that you had to have with your tenants. What has DLF done for them? Because, at the end of the day, your heart also goes out to them. They are not allowed to fire any employees. They're not allowed to earn a buck. And they have fancy rentals to pay.
Absolutely. So we have, we are going to finalize our plan for our retail partners in the next few days. I'm sorry I wouldn't be able to disclose it now, but suffice to say two things. One, we reduce our common area maintenance dramatically and only took out what the real cost was from the tenants. We have till now not raised our rental invoices for April and May.
Okay.
So I think we are working out a package. The retail partners have a very symbiotic relationship with us. We can't do without them. They cannot do without us. And being the big brother, we will give them we will hold hands with them to ensure that they are comfortable. At the same time, they also realize that we have our obligations to make. We have our bank loans, the interest, the installments to make. So we have to find a middle path, which is good for both of us. And I'm sure we will. I'm certain we will.
Also done, you're a listed player. You're a responsible company. I've always said that DLF's promoters have always stood apart from the rest of India Inc. because they show their dedication to the company. And look what else has happened with respect to bank loans and other promoters. But you've also followed lease rental discounting. There are hedge funds involved. There are third-party rights that have been created, which is not the fault of your tenants or your retailers. That's what they're going to tell you, right?
Yeah. It's not anyone's fault, if you ask me. I mean, it happens. But when we are in it together and the retailers realize we will have to find a joint solution. And being the big brother, I am confident that we'll play that role.
So you're declaring force majeure, is that it?
No, it's not. We are not declaring force majeure. I think our intent is definitely not to look at the legal ace and see what we have to do with that. We have a very deep relationship with most of our retail partners, and we have been in dialogue with them. As you said, I would have had some serious conversations. The answer is no. The answer is we've had very cordial interactions till now, and we are in the final stage of finding solutions.
So give us a little more idea what's going to happen to your shopping districts, whether it's in New Delhi, which we don't know if will open on June 8th, or in Gurgaon, where you not only have shopping malls, but you've also created these hubs, cyber hub for anyone who doesn't live in Gurgaon, Horizon One, all of that. What's going to happen to all of these eating districts, shopping districts? How are you going to do crowd control over there?
See, it will be a new normal. There's no question on that. And I think I heard the Restaurant Association of India President Anurag talk on a TV show where he said that they are going to reduce the number of tables by 1/3. And they're going to put cross marks on places where people cannot sit. So I think each one will have to look at managing the crowds that come. And at the same time, they will have to keep looking at their cost structures to see that they are profitable despite lower revenues. And that can only happen if they have lower costs.
Okay. So then,
I mean, look at the airlines, for example. They've started. And if airline starts, then they learn from their things. And now I read today somewhere that the Airport Regulatory Authority or Aviation Regulatory Authority is saying that they will try and tell the airlines to keep the middle row empty for some time. So I think these sort of precautions will happen, but they would be temporary till the scare, until the virus sort of goes away.
Okay. So then, when you're going to come out with negotiations, you're going to handhold, whether it's for your office spaces, for the restaurants, or the retailers, how will you decide for how much time, right? Is it till the vaccine comes? Because that ambiguity is going to be there. And I don't think we'll go back to the old times till there is a cure.
Oh, absolutely right. I think that's an excellent question. So what has been happening that offices is a little different from retail. Offices is much more institutionalized. They are international companies. They have strong balance sheets, and the view of things is very different from what it is from the retailers and F&B, which are to some extent, homegrown and say in the smaller segment. We have looked at it a month at a time, and we have really not looked at it in the long term. So even when the malls open, we will look at it for the next few months and not go beyond that. And we will play it by the year and see how the virus plays itself out, how people feel comfortable, and then sort of keep taking decisions as we go along.
So then, with this ambiguity, how do you do it? Because I guess it'll also be a situation of retailers will have to figure out over the next 2-3 months, does it make sense for them to remain in business? Is it more expensive for them to stay in business or to shut down their businesses temporarily? So it's going to be a lot of what? Wait and watch?
Yeah. Nayanthara, shutting down businesses is not the solution. And, it's very difficult to shut down businesses. It's a question of when you open the business, what sort of cost structure you try and maintain to ensure that you get over the period till the time this coronavirus goes away. I mean, if you recall the demonetization time, I think it was November 16, it sort of played itself out in 3 or 4 months. But when the retailers came to us, they said that they wanted a package for the next 3 years. But we sort of realized that it couldn't be like that and sort of gave them the breaks a month at a time. And then once things came back to normal, it was back to business.
I'm sure you're glad, or DLF is glad, Mr. Rajiv Singh and Mr. KP Singh are glad that they've sold DT Cinemas. But what is the future of the movie exhibition business and cinema halls? Because, let's face it, Mr. Khattar, a lot of the crowds also go to malls because of multiplexes, movie halls. Now, if that's not going to be in business, people are not going to be wanting to go there, that's a lot of footfalls you're going to lose.
Yeah, Nayanthara, I would strongly urge you not to look at the future from the spectrum of the current situation. I think this also will play itself out. If you see the Far East, when the SARS came and when 1 or 2 other similar flus came, there was a disruption for a few months and then things got back to normal. I mean, if you see China, it is getting back to normal. You see some of the European countries, they're getting back to normal. So I think it's a question of when the virus plays itself out and when things start coming back to normal. Meanwhile, we have to tighten our belts, we have to reduce our costs and live within the means that we have now and make business out of it.